Good morning, Mario, and good morning, Switch fans. New friend has entered the fray, but it's still the same great show. And today I have a really weird wish, a strange desire. How often does the host of a show wish to be wrong? Not very often, but today I want to be wrong. All right, and we're going to do things a bit differently. Let's start off today's video with a little montage. Now try and tell me that that doesn't look insanely cool. I feel like they have built the best big world Nintendo Switch has ever seen. And we got a lot about Xenoblade Chronicles 3 and why. I just hope that I'm completely wrong. I want to be super wrong. But first, what's going on, everybody? It's Zach from SwitchForce. Hope you're all having a fantastic day. Hit that like button to show some love. Talk at me in the comments if you're bored. And let's go into a couple of quick stories before we hit my wish. All right, so first off, let's touch on these recycled icons. Nintendo did a kind of a cool thing with their little sort of achievements, basically, where you could earn these icons via missions and rewards on Nintendo Switch Online. And I thought that was like a neat way to try and Nintendoify a very typical online system. And they started doing a bunch of diverse games. There's Mario Odyssey and Animal Crossing, and there's Kirby in the Forgotten Land. Wait, Kirby in the Forgotten Land was forgotten and now they put it back out again. They're recycling icons. Nintendo, they love it in Nintendo. Like, these icons, there has to be some folder somewhere of like hundreds of these, right? They have all these games, all these franchises, all of these assets. Just make new ones. Why are we redoing Kirby icons? I mean, how cheap can you be? You won't put out Mario Kart Wave 2. You basically canceled Animal Crossing even though it sold 40 million copies. You were so darn slow. You couldn't do a direct. And now you're recycling icons. I don't know. Maybe I'm overreactive, but it just feels incredibly lazy. It feels incredibly lazy that these icons are such a menial task and ask. And they could put out a bunch for different games. Xenoblade's coming out. Throw those at us. Pokemon is really big right now. Not thanks to Nintendo or Game Freak, but because it's leaking everywhere. Throw some Pokken Tournament or Let's Go icons at us. Instead, they're recycling Kirby, which has some cool icons. I use one of them. But it's sad that Nintendo needs to reuse these. They're already using one slot of the icons for Animal Crossing every month for villagers. Now the other slot is recycled. It just feels badman.jpg. Okay, what doesn't feel bad, though, is Live Alive reviews are shockingly good. The game is currently sitting at an 82 on Metacritic. Nintendo is publishing it out into the world tomorrow. And even though this game is originally like 30 years old, many of the reviews have given it 8s and 9s, saying it's shocking how well it holds up, it comes together, and the different diverse elements, the different storylines, the different kinds of gameplay are really innovative, exciting, and engaging even in 2022. Now, some have said, you know what, it does feel kind of old, it doesn't really hold up perfectly, but in general, this is another very strong JRPG on a Nintendo Switch, and they managed to take an old game and revitalize it in a way that is really appealing. And I think that bodes well for Nintendo's future. Everybody wants to do remakes, right? Everybody's like, yo, let's do remakes. And then some get it and some don't. And we don't really 100% know how Nintendo gets it for their franchises. We've seen them do Famicom Detective Club, which I guess is their franchise. And Live Alive, they're publishing. How will they handle Metroid, which is the big one, right? How are they going to do a remake there, a remaster there? Well, if this is any indication, it seems like they've got the chops. It seems like they've got the right idea, as opposed to something like The Last of Us that leaked out. It's just graphical uptick. There's no real gameplay improvement. There's not a lot of massaging of the material, which I think is sad, because charging somebody $70 for the same game with just upgraded resolution and graphics, that's not really much of a reason to rebuy the dang project. I'm very curious to see how this Metroid Prime remaster goes. I'm very excited for it. It better be real. Jeff Grubb, don't let me down. Otherwise, we'll have to have Silex Hunter come after you. Let's also touch on a really rotten game. Sonic Frontiers, I mean, maybe it turns out to be amazing, but all I've seen of it, it literally made me throw up. That is not a joke. That is not a lie. It literally made me throw up. Check the video from back in June around Fake E3. Sonic Frontiers a new date has leaked out for this game if you're interested. It seems like now it's going to be filling up December. So according to SteamDB, the Steam database, December 3rd is the release date. Now, earlier this week, it leaked out that it was November 8th, but now that's been updated to December 3rd. And honestly, based on what I think about the game, December is a way better day. November is going to be packed, and you're coming in right before Pokemon. You're coming in right before God of War. Don't do that. Don't do that. Don't do that. Coming in December when people are looking for one more thing to play, a last-minute Christmas gift. I mean, I pray that Sonic Frontiers is fantastic. No part of me believes it will be. The Sonic creators are like, oh, we already know the next game. Like, that's where their headspace is. They're already on the next one, which to me is like a silent omission that, like, oh man, Open Zone wasn't it. Open Zone wasn't it. I'm willing to be wrong, but yeah, December 3rd feels like a decent day for a mediocre Sonic game to maybe get some shine. I don't think it should come out in November, but I'd love to be wrong. I'd love to be wrong, and I'd love to be wrong about Xenoblade Chronicles 3. Man, you saw the gameplay. Okay, this world, like if Breath of the Wild 2 came out with that level of depth, detail, and diversity in its open world, we'd all be like breakdancing on the floor. I don't know if we could even talk. We would be so overjoyed. Tears would be streaming down our face. And because this is a JRPG that has a humongous hour count, and last game started off so slow, I have been very much Scrooge McDuck about it. Like, I don't want to spend for something that's going to take 20 hours to get going. I really, really have been sour on Xenoblade. Okay, and I'm fine admitting that. And I'll tell you, the honest truth is I just don't like spending tons of hours of meh to get to the good stuff. That's just how I am. And I know people love this franchise, and I want to love it too. But my attempt with Xenoblade Chronicles 2 was a failure. And yet I see Xenoblade Chronicles 3, and I'm like, dude, that combat looks crazy. The beasties look big. We praised Elden Ring for having all these cool monsters just roaming around. The bad guys, the enemies in Xenoblade Chronicles 3 are cooler than the enemies in Elden Ring. The gameplay looks great. I mean, 6 characters plus an additional hero that you can bring along looks insane. I don't know how I'm going to manage that. It feels overwhelming. The big things for Xenoblade for me that are daunting and that I want to overcome, I want to be wrong about them stopping me, are one, it seems overwhelming. There's so much lore and so much story, right? The mechanics and the gameplay, the systems, you get the Ouroboros, you got upgrading, you got gems, you got cooking, all of this stuff. There's 7 characters all at once. You can change classes. You have to make a good team of classes. Oh my goodness gracious. It just seems like it's going to be so much. And I don't know, I've played games my entire life, but it just feels oppressive. But I know that underneath that is like joy, right? It's understanding these systems, feeling them all out, and then figuring them out. And wow, that's a great feeling. It works that way with just about any game. You know, some people think Madden is super confusing if they're not familiar, and I'm just not familiar. This world and the graphics and what they pulled off with the Switch also are tantalizing, right? It's tantalizing to see that they can do all of this on the Switch, and then it's a JRPG. And when I was younger, I loved JRPGs. I remember sitting there and looking at the Best Buy weekly ad and like asking my mom if I could get Final Fantasy IX. So like I've been into this stuff before, but in the modern era, I don't know, the time-consuming nature, the drawn-out openings, some of the corny dialogue has just really kind of toned down my enthusiasm. And so I see this incredible technical feat, and I'm like, but it's JRPG. I see this massive open world, but it's JRPG. And the world, like, we need to talk about it again. The world here looks insane. The fact that you get XP for exploring secret areas, bomb idea, okay? The fact that there's beautiful, gorgeous, glowing trees and humongous peaks and then sliding down snowy mountains, it just looks insane. The level of detail, the variety, this looks like the coolest world Nintendo. I have goosebumps. This looks like the coolest world Nintendo has ever helped be a part of. And we know Monolith Soft are masters at their work. They help Nintendo with plenty of other big games, including, yes, The Legend of Zelda. These people know how to put a great game together. And I want to be a part of it. I want to be a part of Xenoblade Chronicles 3, and I have been pulled away and towards and away and towards, and when it was announced, I was like, it was the closer at some direct, I think the February direct, and I was like, oh, man. Xenoblade, that's what you're going to do to me? And then it was out later in the year, and then it got bumped up to July, and I was like, okay, July is the summer. The summer is usually slow for games. Perhaps I can do it. Perhaps I can get into it. And fingers crossed that this Xenoblade does have a smoother start, a faster start, a quicker onboarding. That would be awesome. But the idea of the two different nations, the 3 fighters from each nation coming together as a team of 6, the idea that there's a 10-year lifespan in this world, the idea that the Ouroboros fusions and the big crazy monsters, there's some maniacal looking foes in this game. It's all very anime, but it looks so cool. And the world and the enemies and just, if, like, here's how I'm convincing myself. If this was branded with Nintendo characters, I would be literally like, it would be just a gush fest. You couldn't get me to shut up about this game. So I'm trying to just kind of reel back my skepticism and say, just because it's anime, just because it's JRPG, just because it's Xenoblade, this could still be my game of the year. It has some of the elements, the mechanics, and the draws that really appeal to me, and I want to be so wrong about this game, because initially I thought I would hate it. I was not a fan of Xenoblade Chronicles 2, and I want to pick this up and have my expectations shattered. I want to have my preconceived notions shattered, and I want to be totally wrong about Xenoblade Chronicles 3. I want to love this project. I want to love this game, and I want to force myself to do it. So here's my commitment. I am going to get this game, and I'm going to try to love it. And I'm going to push beyond a couple of hours of confusion or chaos or a lore dump or whatever it may bring, and really try to get to the goods, get to the yolk of this incredible project. Like, there's not this much love for a franchise without good cause. And there's so much hype and love around Xenoblade, and I'm outside of it. I want to be in the fray. And man, a game that I dismissed, a franchise that I said I'm out of, an announcement that I rolled my eyes at. The recent overview trailer has got me excited. Other people, your enthusiasm has got me excited, and the world they've created, I cannot deny that it's so cool. I cannot deny that it's impressive and incredible, and it's running on Switch. How are they doing this? I'm going to find out, and I hope that I find out that I've been wrong about this all along, and it becomes one of the top favorite, best Switch titles, best titles overall of 2022. Let me know if you're going to try Xenoblade Chronicles 3. You going to get in on this? You hope that you're wrong about it? Or do you know that you're right and I'm the crazy one? And am I wrong? If I'm wrong, great. I want to be wrong. I want to be wrong, dang it. Let me know what you think. Let's see what you think about the rumored Switch games. We got a lot of big Switch properties rumored. A lot of Nintendo franchises supposedly returning at some point to the Switch. I'm talking Donkey Kong, F-Zero, and Star Fox. If you missed the F-Zero rumor, we covered that yesterday morning. And if you missed the Star Fox rumor, we covered that last night. These things have been swirling around the community, but it's DK that reigns supreme, and I love it. I love it because I picked it too. 56% of us want Donkey Kong to come back. Tropical Freeze was so darn great, and I think that's why this is the highest. The recent entries for DK have been stellar. Why has there not been another one? Star Fox needs some reworking, I think. 23% of you picked that. It needs some reworking. F-Zero probably doesn't, but it has been absent for a long time, and maybe people aren't as familiar with it as obviously they are Mario Kart. And at this point, it's like, don't work on another racer. Give us the Mario Kart DLC that now is probably not coming until August. But yeah, DK, man, bring back the Crumlings, bring back King K. Rool, and bring back your super cool, best-in-class platforming action. Donkey Kong, I need you. Not going to be this year, but I'd love to see it this year. Show it off if you believe in doing directs. All of these games, that would be great to get on Switch, and I think eventually we do get them. I think eventually we get all three, but for now, I will let you go. Have a great rest of your day. Thank you so much for watching. Stay safe, stay healthy, stay happy, stay positive out there. I appreciate all of you so much. I want to be wrong, but I definitely know I'm not wrong about you. And I thank you from the very bottom of my heart for supporting my YouTube journey, my adventures, and my fun since 2010. Thank you. I love you. I appreciate you. Till next time, SwitchForce out.